Hi everyone, I'm Matt from Look Into Bitcoin, and today we're going to be doing a Bitcoin roundup to discuss the current market conditions. We're going to try and gain some insight into Bitcoin's recent price action and how we should consider positioning ourselves going forward. We'll be using a number of resources, all freely available on lookintobitcoin.com, your number one source for Bitcoin information. If you haven't already, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to ensure you're receiving all of our content as soon as it's released. So right now we're just on TradingView on the BTC USD daily chart, and we can see it's not been a great month. We've had a little bit of positive price action followed by some very negative price action. However, as we've discussed a lot in our previous roundup videos, realistically not a lot has really happened. We're at prices that we were at 3 months ago. Again, you could have bought in June, come back today and you still wouldn't have lost any money. We are still within this tight range we see here. One thing I have noticed is if I just add these on here, we can see the previous all-time high line here, which has been an area of support and resistance for a few months now for BTC. What we can also see is in this chart here, we can actually look at the previous monthly returns throughout all of Bitcoin's price history to try and gain some insight onto what months usually outperform and underperform. And as we come to the conclude of September, we can see September historically is the worst month for Bitcoin performance. So maybe some relief is due after we've undergone a pretty negative month of price action, and hopefully we can finish the year strong with a few good months. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. There is always some use in looking at historic averages and seeing months that have historically performed very well, but realistically, the next few months can still be very unpredictable, especially if we load up the S&P 500 price chart for the previous year almost. We can see the correlation between Bitcoin and traditional finance is incredibly strong. As the S&P 500 or any traditional equity index begins to move up, we can see Bitcoin follow, and as it moves down again, Bitcoin tends to follow downwards too, which isn't ideal, especially as there are murmurs of a potential global recession, a drawn out bear market throughout all traditional markets, but we'll have to wait and see if that really does come to fruition. Right now, we could potentially be seeing a double bottom, or we could be seeing new lows in the coming weeks and months. So if we go on to some more on-chain charts and analysis on lookintobitcoin.com, we'll start here with the Puell multiple to try and gain some insight into where we currently are in this cycle. As we can see, the Puell multiple for a few months now has been in this lower green territory here and has recently re-entered into this green buy zone. Now the Puell multiple is looking at the daily issuance of BTC denominated in dollar terms and then dividing that by a yearly average. So we can see every 10 minutes or so, whenever a new block is mined by miners and a new block reward is received, we can see once we aggregate that data over a daily basis and compare that to a yearly average, we can see comparatively how is Bitcoin under or overvalued compared to how it has been over the previous year. And right now, as I said, we've been in this zone for about 3 months, recently just re-entered, so potentially a good area to buy, but there is always more room to the downside, unfortunately. Next, we have two charts fairly similar that are showing, even though we've had some very negative price action for the past few weeks and months, a lot of investors are not phased and continue to accumulate BTC. Now, we have seen this trend for a few months, especially in the Bitcoin wallets containing at least one Bitcoin. We can see this has actually continued to surpass previous all-time highs, and every single day pretty much more people are accumulating at least one BTC in their wallet and are trying to seize this opportunity of a potentially discounted BTC, and the strategic investors are really trying to position themselves for the next cycle. Not only for the 1 BTC holders, but also for the 10 BTC holders, which is something we haven't seen over the past few months really. We saw a lot of distribution from these larger players in the market as Bitcoin initially reached its all-time highs, and we could see the addresses containing at least 10 BTC dropped fairly dramatically, but over the past couple weeks and months, this again has started to climb up again, which is a positive sign that those that have a lot of capital to deploy in the cryptocurrency markets are seeing this as the good opportunity to do so. And finally, the Bitcoin Rainbow Price Chart Indicator. I've seen this mentioned a lot on social media recently, and as we reach this lower band of the Rainbow Price Chart, it really is crunch time to see if this chart will hold true and these logarithmic curves that have been ever so nicely coloured to look like a rainbow do hold strong. We're currently in the fire sale territory, which is usually a very rare occurrence, apart from a few times in previous cycles, which very much marked the bottom and great opportunities to potentially buy and load up as many sats as you can. Right now, as I said, we are again in that fire sale territory. We have over the past few weeks and months try to break out of this, but again, we remain in this channel, and it'll be interesting to see over the next weeks and months if we remain in this channel, break beneath, or potentially try and climb higher to kick off a new cycle. So just to summarize, September, historically the worst month for Bitcoin, is finally over. Thankfully, now hopefully this means we can have a great Q4 of the year and really try and kick off, make a bottom in Bitcoin, but I suppose it really does depend on the traditional markets and how they react over the coming weeks and months. A lot of fundamental events such as inflation numbers are really putting a downer on prices in the traditional markets, and as Bitcoin right now is so correlated to these markets, it's going to be hard for Bitcoin to really decouple and break to the upside while everything else is so bearish. What we can see is that looking at almost all market cycle and on-chain charts, we only looked at a handful this video, but if you go into the Look into Bitcoin site, you can see for yourself, almost all of them are at comparatively oversold levels, showing historically great opportunities to potentially stack some more Bitcoin. Now, just because these signals are flashing right now doesn't necessarily mean that this is the exact bottom. This could be a bottom forming over the course of weeks or months, and many opportunities over the near future may arise. So right now we just have to be patient and make sure we are accumulating at the best possible time and positioning ourselves wisely for the next cycle. Although this doesn't seem to be phasing miners and investors. As miners continue to increase their output in securing the Bitcoin network, we can see the hash rate continually increase, and only a few weeks ago we had a hash ribbons buy signal, which is a very rare occurrence and historically been very accurate. We can also see from the Bitcoin holdings of the wallets containing at least 1 BTC and 10 BTC that investors continue to try and stack and accumulate as much as they possibly can. If you like this video, then please visit lookintobitcoin.com, where you can also consider becoming a site subscriber to gain access to live charts, in-depth newsletters, indicator alerts, private trading view scripts, and more, all for a fraction of the standard industry price. Please leave your comments down below. I want to know your opinion and thoughts on the market. Do you think we have bottomed? Do you think we're in for more pain over the next few weeks and months? Where do you see Bitcoin going in the next cycle? It's interesting to see how we're going to play out over the next few months and years. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.